All right, we're in Siman Yud Bet, page 276. Dinim haposlim b'tzitzit. Things that invalidate the tzitzit. .org. Im nifseku kol chutei hakanaf. Notice you have here parentheses and brackets. Do you see that? In general, when you see in a main text parentheses and then another word in brackets, it means that the incorrect version is in parentheses and the correct version is in brackets. Im nifseku kol chutei hakanaf. If all the strings in the corner ripped, they tore. ונשתייר בהם כדי עניבת כל החוטים הפסוקים ביחד. But there's enough of each string in order to tie them all together in a knot. So let's understand. You have your tzitziot. I just mentioned it. You have tzitziot, and there's a knot. Yeah, maybe I could have a talit. Oh, here. Oh. So if here, I believe is what I'm going to say, the strings get cut. And there's enough at the bottom in order to tie them all together in a knot. So I don't know how much string you would need. Like, let's say that much string. I don't know exactly how much. Kedei aniva. The word is aniva is a tie in Hebrew. In order to make a tie, a knot. Ksherim. Kasher. It's kosher. The tzitzit is still valid.
You remember I had that pair.
That was Zev's famous question. V'im lav. V'im lo nishar kedei aniva. And if there's not enough string in order to tie a knot, afilu bechut echad shnifsa kulo. Even if only one string is all the way up until the top, it's ripped. One string, meaning you have 7 that are okay, and one all the way to the top. Pasul. This whole tzitzit is unable to be worn.
So one string nullifies an entire...
Everything. Hilchach, therefore, kevan shekol echad kaful d'shnayim. Listen very carefully what's going to happen now. Maran is going to get good. It's going to be intelligent. Watch. Because every string is really 2, meaning it's 4 strings that become 8 because they loop around. Yeah? Im nifseku shnei rashim. If 2 heads, meaning if 2 of these strings get cut, pasul. The whole tzitzit is pasul. Why? Shema nifsak chut echad. Understand what we're saying. 1 of the 8 doesn't invalidate. Not what I said before. 1 of the 8 doesn't invalidate. 2 of 8 invalidate because maybe now you lost an entire string of the 4 strings.
Oh, yeah.
If you only lose 1 of these guys, you still have its other half on this side. And therefore you're okay. Understand? If not, I can explain again. If you are missing 1 string, what is the definition of 1 string? 2 of 8, because 2 of 8 is the 1 of the 4.
Yeah.
But if you're only losing 1 of these, it's still okay. ולפי מה שאנחנו נוהגים לדקדק בעת עשיית הציציות, לתת סימן ב4 ראשים. Let me explain this halakha out loud, by heart, because it's going to be better to explain it verbally than to read it to you from me. Some of us, when you tie tzitziot, you just tie 2 knots. So you have 4 strings on this side, 4 strings on this side, and you keep tying and tying and twirling and twirling and tying. And you don't really pay attention to leave the same 4 strings on one side and the same 4 strings on the other side. You kind of just mesh them up, and at the end of every one of these twirls, you grab 4 strings and 4 strings and make another knot. In that situation, when you lose 2 strings, the tzitzit is pasul. But if you are careful, like most of us are, to always keep these 4 strings, what we do is we tie them together at the end, and then we tie the tzitzit. These 4 strings on one side, and these 4 strings on the other side. If you lose 2 strings on the same side, what do you know? Did you lose one whole string?
Yeah.
No,
Oh, no.
because they're both on the same side,
Right.
and therefore your tzitzit is still kosher until you lose one on each side, and in that situation your tzitzit is not kosher anymore. Right. So if you buy tzitzit at the store, I don't know that you can rely on this because you don't know who tied it. But when I tie my tzitzit, I make sure to leave 4 and 4 because of this halakha. At the bottom of the page, Rabbeinu Tam, and according to Rabbeinu Tam, לא מכשירים אלא נשתיירו 2 חוטים שלמים. Jack, help me out.
Well, this is what I have here. It's really complicated.
According to Rabbeinu Tam, start with those words.
Let me see if I can find that. Is that part of the Shulchan Aruch? or
Yeah,
is that
part of the Shulchan Aruch in the middle, really, of this
Okay,
halakha.
let me see. Are we on 12:1?
12:1.
Okay,
See Rabbeinu Tam somewhere floating around.
yeah, just looking. Oh, here it is. Not like, halakha is according to the first opinion now.
No, before that.
Okay. Rabbeinu Tam, where is he again? Is it near the beginning?
Yeah. In the middle.
I don't see mentioned before that. So.
Can I look?
Yeah.
That's because they wrote it in Hebrew. However, according to Rabbeinu Tam, the tzitzit are only kosher if 2 complete long threads remain, or the corresponding 4 head threads. Okay, let's leave Rabbeinu Tam. Some Ashkenazim are strict like Rabbeinu Tam, not all, and therefore let's go to the next halakha. Hechad tzarich kedei aniva. Thank you.
Yeah.
In a situation where you need enough string to tie a knot, is there a standard thickness for tzitzit strings? Does there have to be?
No.
I've seen ones different ones.
Yeah, like mine are a little thicker, some a little thinner. I've seen people with thicker tzitzit than mine. Yeah, you could use ropes on it. Like you can, all kinds of things you could use.
Ropes?
Not really ropes, but yeah, it could be thick or thin. The question is,
Hadar mitzvah.
the question is, what if I have my strings are all cut, but I only have enough to make a knot if the strings were thin.
Mhm.
But because these strings are thick, I don't have enough string to make a knot.
That's a good one.
Can I say our rabbis meant that when you're tying tzitzit, if it was this much on a thin string, it would be a knot, so then they're kosher? Or does it go based on the actual string I'm using now? Says Maran. ומתוך שהחוטים עבים אינו יכול לענוום, and because the strings are too thick, you can't make a knot. ואילו היו דקים, היו בהם כדי עניבה, and if they were thick, if they were thinner, then they would be able to tie a knot. kasher. Maran says it's kosher. Haggah says the Rama. ומשארין בחוטים בינוניים. Rama says, don't start playing games with me. Soon you're going to tell me if the tzitzit were made of sewing thread, then I can always tie a knot with them. Says the Rama, listen, we're talking about medium-sized strings. What is medium? Average. What is average? You go break your head to figure it out. But not strings that are too thin, not strings that are too thick. using an objective standard. In the bottom, I see Rabbi David Yosef says the amount of string you need in order to tie a knot are 4 centimeters, which are 2 thumbs. That's about what we said, no? Tie a knot, was that 2 thumbs? Let's see, 1, 2. I was a little more straight. Yeah, a little bit less. Yeah?
So basically, the Shulchan Aruch without Ramah says that you don't need to have a knot there.
Right, it just has to, if it was a different kind of string, potentially be able to tie a knot.
Yeah.
Very good. Page 286.
286.
286. We're flying, guys. Flying.
So we're going to skip those papers. We just move.
No, we're skipping them. They're all, if it was 1 string, if it was 3 strings,
Yeah,
there are
that's
2
pretty
strings, there are 3
complicated.
strings, there were 2 strings, there were 1.
Very arcane.
Let's, Kedei aniva. What does it mean, enough to tie a knot? L'rashi min ha'anaf. Rashi says from the, how does it translate enough?
Loop. Enough for a loop. If it, according to Rashi, this must be done from the branch. According to the, is this?
Re.
Reef, okay.
Re.
Re?
Re without a F.
Re, okay. Yeah, I never saw that. Who's that?
He's also a French scholar from the times of Tosfot.
Okay. Even if the branch was, entire branch was severed, but there remains enough thread in the tassel to make a loop, it's kosher. The world custom is according to Rashi. In a difficult situation, one can rely on the re.
Okay, I believe what they're saying is, Rashi says, where does he have to tie a knot? Here,
Yeah,
in this part of the tzitzit. Yeah, so if you get cut all the way till here, these are no longer kosher.
yeah.
Re says no, in that kind of situation, you could tie a knot with the knots. And Maran says the custom is like Rashi, but if you don't have a choice, let's say it's only your only pair of tzitzit, you can rely on the Re and wear tzitziot that are cut up to here, so long as you have enough knot in order to tie a knot with.
Give them enough rope.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a hypothetical situation where that would happen.
I don't know.
I guess mine.
Let's read on page 289. B'chol makom, in any place, shatalit, in any situation, shatalit psula machmat shenifsadu atzitziyot, that your talit, your tzitzit, become not kosher because of the strings. Asur lidbosh talit, it's forbidden to wear that talit. V'im ha'lavush betalit, and if you were wearing that talit, tzarich leposhta ma'alav miyad, you must take it off immediately. What happens if you're in public, if you're in the synagogue, you're in a place where it's embarrassing for you? We're going to talk about that in the next chapter. Page 290. Guys, Mazal Tov, you just finished Siman Yud.